If you just want to feed birds in general, just like I just want to have birds floating around in my yard at a feeder, then it's simple. Just get any feeder that you want, fill it up with any seed that you want. But it becomes addictive. So after a while, you're feeding all these general birds, and one day you had this really cool bird that just turned, just like your mind just goes, oh my God, what is that? And then you start asking questions like, hey, I had this species. And then people are like, well, you'll need this feeder and you'll need this seed. So, well, making sure that you have stuff out during migration is kind of important if you want some of those neat ones. Also, understanding the natural habits of birds is kind of important. So, for example, there's a little tiny guy that shows up here, the chipping sparrow, very small sparrow, got a rusty red cap on it, and it primarily feeds on the ground. So having a feeder out isn't necessarily going to draw that bird in as much as the stuff that falls out of the feeder, or even throwing some seed on the ground. That's going to prompt that bird to come in more. Cardinals like certain types of, more like tray feeders. And then there's like the goldfinches like a thistle seed, so there's a certain type of feeder there. The suet's more for the like woodpeckers. So it's just like, it's basically it's lard or fat substance that they can poke their beak into and get seed out of. Because woodpeckers are designed for hanging. If you look at their feet, they've got these 2 toes in the front, 2 in the back. Those zygodactyl feet, and they've got these really stiff, hard tails, which is a brace. So they're designed for sitting on that tree and using their tail as a brace. So you're not going to see the woodpecker hanging off anything where it can't brace its tail up against it. So that's why these cages are designed for them to hang, and then they can poke. And so that's, but there's other things that will sometimes take the suet too. What I get a lot of is, hey, how do you stop this species from coming to my feeder? All I want is blue jays, and that's it. Well, you're not really going to get that. First of all, when you set up a feeder, you're setting up a dinner table, and everybody's going to come and show up there. And not just birds show up. Some people have a major problem with squirrels. Raccoons, that's another one. Our feeder system is protected against raccoons. Raccoons, to me, which are interesting animals, are also the rudest animals. They just destroy everything. They don't mind ripping something apart to get to it, and then they leave it, and then they go to the bathroom on your lawn and say thank you and move on. So you could see that our setup is actually more protection from raccoons. It's not a specialty thing. You can just go anywhere you want, pick up, if you just want birds there in the yard, pick up anything that you want from the store, seeds, birds, books, and just start. I mean, there's nothing, you don't need a permit, you don't need anything. It's a very simple thing to get into. But like I said, it can be addictive. And then you start getting into, I got to have this, and I have to have the special feeder, and I want this special bird, and you can get nuts.